Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having us on the show.
It's so awesome to be here. It's great.
It's the refrigerator, Harry.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
So let me start with you, sir. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
So I was thinking maybe later I could show you around LA. We can go to Hollywood Boulevard. Actually, it's kind of disgusting. Or maybe the Santa Monica Pier.
Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I
I was totally like, you should write a book because your family's like stupid and then so are like journalists.
Never mind, that's kind of gross too. And whatever, we'll figure it out. I am just so happy to be back.
So you hate journalists. That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist.
For sure. But wait, watch this.
We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard.
Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines?
Amazing, right?
It started quietly again. A brand new Reddit account, barely 12 hours old, dropped 4 uncaptioned images into a mid-tier animation sub. No context, no watermark, no episode number, just a blurry Imgur link titled, "They really went there this time." Within minutes, chaos. The images were sharper than the last leak, full-color, storyboard-labeled, and unmistakably Family Guy. At first, people assumed it was a recycled parody. But then someone zoomed in and saw the words Scene 11, page 9 printed in the corner. This wasn't fan art. This was studio grade. And the content, somehow even meaner than last time.
She hates delete.
You need to knock it off. And you're hitting everyone with that table.
The first panel alone showed Meghan Markle animated in hyper-stylized detail holding a cracked microphone labeled Archetypes while standing ankle-deep in spilled jam. Behind her, Prince Harry, dazed and barefoot, wheeling a wagon full of unsold memoirs. The caption beneath them, "When branding becomes haunting." It got worse from there. One frame showed a gravestone marked Privacy 2018 to 2020. Another featured Meghan in a tiara made of press passes, standing over a bubbling cauldron labeled Content Strategy. And perhaps most disturbing, at least for fans who remembered the South Park roast, was the background cluttered with references to previous scandals.
Dad, do you have any cash for a cab? Oh, look. Grandma's on the money. I never noticed that before.
The Oprah interview replaying on a cracked TV, a Suits DVD used as a drink coaster, and a blurry sign that read, Montecito Population 2 plus lawsuits. The subreddit froze. No upvotes, no reposts, just stunned silence. Then came the flood. Users began screen grabbing the frames. Twitter accounts reposted. TikTokers made reaction videos. And within 20 minutes, the entire thread vanished. Deleted by mods. No explanation. Accounts that reshared the images were quietly shadow banned, including one user who claimed to have worked in post-production for Fox Animation. They wrote only one line before disappearing. This version didn't get cut, it got buried.
Bravo fired me. Well, not really, but basically, they only offered me friend of the housewives for next season.
Suddenly, this wasn't just another cartoon gag, it was a full-blown panic. People started whispering again that these leaks weren't accidents, that someone, maybe from inside the studio, was deliberately dropping breadcrumbs, and based on how fast the takedown requests hit, Meghan's team may have already seen it before the public did. Because if this is what's being leaked, what on earth is still locked in the vault? And that was just the first frame. The next batch somehow managed to be darker, sharper, and laced with imagery so layered, Reddit's best detectives had to tag in to decode what it all meant. The next image dump didn't just sting, it carved deep. Titled Scene 12 Alt Cutaway. This sequence was labeled internally as the brand graveyard, and according to Reddit sleuths, it was originally pitched months ago before allegedly being pulled by Network Legal. But now, 4 complete frames had surfaced, and they were savage. It opens with Stewie and Brian walking through a fog-drenched cemetery under a cracked neon sign that reads, "Here lie the brands." It's eerie, stylized like a Tim Burton nightmare with product logos twisted into gravestones. As the two characters stroll down a crooked path, tombstones come into focus.
Hi, I'm Meghan Markle,
And I'm Harry. Harry.
and we're royally screwed.
One marked Pearl Jam Montecito edition, another shaped like a giant Spotify waveform split in half. Then comes the big one, a cracked, crumbling memorial that reads in gold foil, "The American Royal Rebrand, born loud, died louder." That's when the camera pans to the real target. Cartoon Meghan stands at the center of the graveyard, dressed in a flowing black cape stitched from magazine covers. Her heels sink into the muddy soil as she tries to pour tea into a mug shaped like Oprah's head. Every time she tries, the mug leaks from a hole labeled Trust. Prince Harry is nearby, seated on a folding chair beside a coffin labeled Spare 2, even spacier. He's holding a jam jar with a faded label, as ever limited authenticity. He tries to bury it, but it keeps floating back to the surface. Then Stewie turns to Brian and whispers, "What's more terrifying, ghosts or influencers with victim arcs?" Brian shrugs and says, "Depends. Do the ghosts have podcasts?" But the final beat is where the scene really twists the knife. As Meghan raises her arms to declare a rebrand resurrection, the ground splits open. A glowing hand emerges, a ghostly pearl-draped corgi claw clutching a tabloid with Diana's face on the front. The Meghan character gasps, stumbles back and drops her crown. It rolls into the grave marked privacy, tipping over the headstone. Then Stewie spray paints across a blank tombstone. Coming soon, Netflix's apology tour. The sequence fades to black, but in the leaked frame notes there's one more line, apparently cut before final animation, a whisper from the fog. "Reputation is the one thing you can't monetize twice." It was bold, cruel, precise, and whether or not the full scene ever airs, it was clear the writers weren't pulling punches. Not anymore. But that wasn't even the most controversial scene in the leak, because the next storyboard, it doesn't take place in a graveyard. It takes place on a talk show set, haunted by someone Meghan knows all too well.
I'm sorry, I'm just really stressed. We're completely out of money.
Maybe it's time we dip into your fortune from Suits.
There is no fortune from Suits.
The next round of images hit like an ambush. This time, the scene took place on a fake daytime talk show set, part Oprah, part Ellen, part fever dream. The storyboard was labeled Scene 13, Meghan's manifestation hour, and even in stills, the energy was chilling. The set was dressed in lavender and gold, with oversized roses in the background, and a live audience sign that flickered applause emotionally. In the first frame, cartoon Meghan sits alone on a plush couch shaped like a Spotify logo, holding a giant microphone carved from Himalayan salt. She's introduced by a voiceover as your Duchess of Disruption, your Empress of Empathy, and your CEO of Self-Discovery. But the camera pans out, revealing the audience empty. Just rows and rows of Oprah cardboard cutouts, each one with a different facial expression: shock, pity, disappointment. One cutout is visibly cracked in half with tape holding the head on, and then comes the co-host, a spectral corgi wearing Princess Diana's famous pearl choker. It floats across the stage and curls up beside Meghan, muttering, "We tried warning you, but you kept scheduling panels." Its voice, British, elderly, exhausted, draws instant comparisons to Dame Maggie Smith, though nothing is confirmed. The humor here is subtle but savage. On Meghan's cue cards, Reddit users zoomed in to read phrases like "reclaim the narrative," "pain to profit funnel," and "next guest," someone less polarizing. Each card seems to get more absurd. One simply says "tear up on cue." In the third frame, the Meghan character begins introducing her new healing product line, only to be interrupted by the ghost dog sighing, "Did you think no one would notice the label's just a sticker?" Then comes the punchline, except it's pixelated. Unlike the other frames, this one shows Meghan mid-sentence, clearly reacting to something off-screen. Her animated face is shocked, lips forming a half-phrase. Reddit users speculated wildly. Was it Oprah walking in? A cutaway to Montecito's Wi-Fi bill? A mock call from Tyler Perry? But one theory stood out, and it came from someone claiming to have worked on the original cut.
I don't know what to do. How are we going to pay for school for Archie?
I have to tell you, I never realized so many things cost money. Like this chicken. I bet you had to pay for it.
According to them, the original gag had a ghost of future relevancy walk onto the set and silently hand Meghan a mirror, only for her reflection to be a literal tabloid headline, "Former Duchess Still Talking." Fox allegedly cut it after an internal debate about whether it crossed into mean-spirited self-immolation. Regardless, the damage was done. The scene's aesthetic, a parody of self-branding so intense it turns into a seance, struck nerves. Critics called it a masterclass in animated psychological warfare. Fans just called it cold. But what tipped the leak into full-blown cultural detonation wasn't the jokes. It was what Reddit detectives found hiding in the background. Because the moment someone scanned a certain weird shape on the set wall, this stopped being about cartoons and started looking like something engineered. It didn't take long before someone noticed it. In the third frame of the haunted talk show scene, just over Meghan's cartoon shoulder, there was a strange blocky shape on the wallpaper. At first, it looked like abstract set decor, but one Reddit user zoomed in, brightened the contrast, and dropped the image into a QR scanner.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. I kind of took you out of your natural habitat. I'm surprised you're still breathing.
What happened next cracked the thread wide open. It led somewhere. A dead Fox Animation subdomain, buried, archived, inactive, but the title of the page was enough to send chills through anyone following the saga. 2026 upfront assets, no content, just that header. It didn't make sense. Why would storyboard frames supposedly from a fall 2025 episode link to a placeholder page for next year's network preview? Theories started multiplying fast. Some believed it was just a coincidence, art department leftovers, but others weren't so sure, especially after someone else noticed another strange symbol, this one in the corner of the audience shot, carved into the stage floor like a watermark. a tiny television screen with a lightning bolt through it. A few veteran animation fans recognized it immediately. That icon had shown up before in a long-forgotten South Park teaser that turned out to be a stealth marketing campaign. The implications? This wasn't a rogue animator dropping storyboards for clout. This was planted. Reddit detectives dubbed it the Fox Funnel Theory, the idea that these leaks weren't leaks at all, but part of a calculated build-up campaign engineered to turn Meghan and Harry into unwilling viral fuel. The evidence? Too many coincidences, too much polish, and a takedown speed that felt rehearsed.
It's so nice to have you back in London, Meghan. I've missed our little lunches.
We've never had lunch together, Kate.
Well, we must continue the tradition.
One Redditor with a background in web security claimed the speed at which the Imgur links were flagged and the accounts nuked could only happen if automated content detection systems had been pre-wired for those exact assets. In their words, this wasn't cleanup, this was choreography. Screenshots of the QR find were reposted across Twitter, Tumblr, and TikTok within minutes. One clip alone, showing a side-by-side of the QR and the subdomain, racked up over 800,000 views in under 3 hours. Suddenly, the question on everyone's mind wasn't, is this real? It was, how far ahead did Fox plan this? Because if Family Guy isn't just mocking Meghan and Harry, if they're using them as the centerpiece for a soft launch marketing scheme aimed at dominating the next year of animation headlines, then we're not just watching a roast, we're watching a rollout. And inside Meghan's Montecito compound, the mood, according to insiders, had shifted from angry to DEFCON, because the next phase wouldn't come from Reddit, it would come from inside their legal war room. Behind the high gates of Montecito, things were spiraling. The moment those new frames hit Reddit, and especially after the QR code bombshell started trending, insiders say Meghan's inner circle went into full crisis mode. One source close to a former Archwell staffer claimed the first emergency call was made just after midnight. Not to PR, to legal. By sunrise, the Sussex's team was allegedly huddled on an encrypted call with a Los Angeles-based defamation attorney who'd previously represented A-listers against late-night segments, sketch shows, even animated satire.
How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
According to one entertainment paralegal who once worked with the same firm, this was the kind of lawyer you call when you want things erased fast. No apologies, no headlines, just gone. But this wasn't a clean-cut case, because satire, it's protected. That's where the strategy shifted. Insiders claim Meghan's team began exploring what's known as a false light claim, an obscure legal path that argues the subject was portrayed in a misleading way that causes reputational harm. Not defamation, but narrative distortion. A higher bar, but one that Meghan allegedly believes she can meet, especially with the Diana references and the ghost corgi visuals. Still, not everyone agreed. Harry, sources say, begged her not to escalate. According to one former Spotify executive still in contact with a Montecito assistant, Harry was visibly stressed during the conversation and argued that going legal would only make it worse. He reportedly told Meghan, "If we sue a cartoon, we become the cartoon." But Meghan, allegedly furious, she reportedly shot back that this wasn't just a joke, it was character assassination with a laugh track, and she wasn't wrong to think the damage was growing. By that point, memes of the haunted talk show scene had already been edited into TikTok set to funeral music. One video showed a split screen of cartoon Meghan beside real footage from her Netflix series. The caption? From documentaries to deadpan. Her lawyers weren't the only ones on speed dial. According to a PR strategist who once handled red carpet crises for a major studio, Meghan's team also contacted a private analytics firm to measure how far the leaked images had spread. What they allegedly found stunned everyone on the call. The top reposted image, Meghan sipping tea from an Oprah mug while the ghost corgi judged her, had reached over 78 million impressions in just 24 hours.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.
The worst part? Not one of those impressions came from official Family Guy accounts. This wasn't even airing yet, which raised the terrifying possibility that Meghan was now caught in a viral spiral with no end in sight. And that's when, according to someone close to her publicist, she uttered the line that's now bouncing around Hollywood back channels like wildfire. If we don't stop this now, they'll never stop. But what Meghan might not have realized, the writers already weren't stopping. Because while her team was scrambling for legal traction, Family Guy's next internal meeting was reportedly a victory lap. While Meghan's team scrambled in Montecito, the vibe inside the Family Guy offices couldn't have been more different. According to one production assistant who spoke anonymously through a locked Discord server, the writer's room was buzzing, not with fear, with adrenaline. They knew exactly what they were doing, the assistant claimed. This wasn't some leak that slipped out. It was practically dared out. The alleged reason? Pure one-upmanship.
We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own.
Insiders say the backlash to the original leaked storyboard, the one with the golden throne of broken microphones and the Diana-stamped coins, wasn't taken as a warning. It was taken as a green light. Apparently, one senior producer even joked during a spring table read, if they hated the first one, they're gonna lose it when we run scene 13. The goal wasn't to pull back, it was to push harder. And push they did. Sources close to the animation pipeline say that after the first leak, Fox execs gave the writing team more room to work Meghan and Harry into other sequences, including full-length parodies and background gags. One idea reportedly in development for next season involves a mock royal dating show where cartoon Harry is the lone contestant, but every bachelorette is just Meghan in different disguises, shouting "reclaim the narrative" through a megaphone. It's not subtle, and it's definitely not over. One unnamed writer, posting under a verified alt account on a private animation forum, wrote, "This isn't just about roasting the Sussexes, it's about testing the temperature. How far can we go before we hear from their lawyers, or from Oprah, or from Netflix?"
I'm sorry, I need a drink.
Another chimed in with a wilder claim that the leaked frames were screened intentionally during a late-night pitch session to execs, just to gauge internal reactions. What's clear is that this wasn't a freak accident or an unsanctioned leak. This was a stress test, and when the internet didn't melt down, but instead amplified the content, looped it, and memed it into oblivion, the writers reportedly took that as a signal. One insider said the phrase being thrown around behind the scenes was, "If South Park drew first blood, we're going for the artery." There are also whispers that Family Guy isn't acting alone. Rumor has it other animated shows are now feeling emboldened. A junior writer on a rival network's primetime series reportedly posted a since-deleted tweet teasing a royal roast crossover in their upcoming fall season. Even some stand-up comics are said to be pitching bits around the Sussexes again, after previously avoiding them entirely for fear of backlash.
Auntie Meghan, hello! Oh, I've missed you!
What Meghan and Harry might have thought was a contained, controllable cartoon gag has now snowballed into an entire industry moment, and if Meghan hoped the media would be sympathetic, she might want to brace herself, because on the other side of the Atlantic, things were about to get ugly. The American media might have called it satire, but in Britain, they called it humiliation. Within 24 hours of the new Family Guy leak exploding across Reddit and Twitter, the UK tabloids were already circling like sharks. The Express didn't mince words. Its digital headlines screamed across phones and tablets all morning. "Cartoon mockery marks Harry's final fall. Even Diana would cringe." And that tone wasn't limited to one outlet. The Daily Mail ran a split panel. Cartoon Harry fumbling with a jam jar. Real Harry giving a speech on mental health. The headline beneath it, "He asked for privacy. They gave him punchlines." Even The Sun, usually more tongue-in-cheek, went unusually sharp. One columnist accused the couple of opening every door to mockery and then acting shocked when the house burns down. And this time it wasn't just the press.
Anyway, Meghan, you were saying Dorit's such a what?
What? No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, Dorit.
Well, I heard it somewhere.
A source close to Buckingham Palace, speaking off the record to a Times journalist, revealed that senior aides were deeply alarmed by the sheer scale of the public mockery. According to the insider, there had been quiet hopes that Harry could still reconnect with the family's inner circle in time for certain upcoming anniversaries and events, but the source was blunt. This has made reconciliation nearly impossible. The monarchy can't afford a mascot who's become a meme. It didn't help that two events tied to Harry's public appearances suddenly vanished. One was a veterans fundraiser in Scotland, where Harry was set to appear virtually. Another was a mental health summit in Germany, reportedly booked months in advance. Both quietly removed his name from their press materials within 48 hours of the leak going viral. No announcements, no explanations, just gone.
Over, under, around and through. Meet Mr. Bunny Rabbit, pull and through. I did it.
Good job, Harry.
A British PR strategist suggested it was all about optics. If you're a sponsor, and your guest speaker just got turned into a laughingstock on international TV, you pull the plug before someone asks why you didn't. Meanwhile, Prince William's camp? Absolute silence. No denial, no statement, no spin. Just a quiet, deliberate distance that insiders say is louder than any public response. One royal correspondent described it as a strategic ghosting, meant to communicate that Harry is no longer part of the institution's narrative. And here's where things get even messier. As British broadcasters covered the Family Guy fallout, a few late-night pundits openly speculated whether this kind of cartoon ridicule would have even happened if Harry hadn't left the firm. One former royal press officer told ITV there was a built-in reverence when he wore the uniform. That's gone now. Now he's just content. And when that line went viral, it hit harder than any animation ever could. Because when your homeland stops seeing you as royalty and starts seeing you as a running joke, there may not be a palace door left to reopen. Meghan Markle has never been one to sit still during a media storm.
Hey guys, so funny bumping into you.
Yeah, I mean, we all live here now, so not that funny.
And according to several industry insiders, she's not planning to now. Rumor has it she's preparing a carefully calculated counterstrike, one that won't come through lawsuits or Instagram posts, but through something much more familiar, a podcast mic. Sources close to her PR team say Meghan is working on a new episode titled Laughing It Off, a comeback narrative built around owning the joke. The concept, a round-table-style conversation with public figures who've been dragged, parodied, humiliated, and lived to reclaim the narrative. But here's the twist. One internal memo, allegedly leaked from a Hollywood PR agency working adjacent to Meghan's team, makes it very clear. This podcast isn't about healing. It's about optics control. The memo reportedly reads, "This episode will allow Meghan to shift from mocked to magnanimous, without excusing the cruelty." Translation? Laugh just enough to appear evolved, but not enough to admit defeat. The guest list is still under wraps, but one name has leaked, and it's raising eyebrows across the animation world. A former voice actor from the Family Guy cast, someone who left the show under quiet, unresolved circumstances, is allegedly in talks to appear. This actor, who once voiced a recurring secondary character, has gone on record criticizing shock value writing in animated shows. Now, according to one entertainment blogger with access to casting emails, they've been invited to discuss the emotional impact of animated satire on real people. One anonymous insider summarized it like this: "They want someone from inside the machine to say the machine is broken." To make it clear, Meghan's not just a punchline, she's a cautionary tale.
Oh, you hilarious, Meghan. Why did you move back here anyway? It was ultimately a tough call, but there were a lot of factors to consider.
But not everyone thinks it's a good idea. One source close to a major streaming platform reportedly warned that this strategy risks turning Laughing It Off into begging to be taken seriously. The fear is that by addressing the roast at all, Meghan recenters it and reinforces her position as a punchline, trying to self-mythologize her pain. Even worse, brands are watching. A corporate partner allegedly paused their deal with Archetypes after hearing about the podcast theme. Their internal concern that Meghan is too reactive, too memed, too polarizing to bet on right now. And another partner, a European skincare label reportedly in talks for a collaboration, has gone completely silent. Meanwhile, Meghan's own team is reportedly divided. Half are pushing to release the episode within days. The other half are begging her to delay, to ride out the storm, let attention fade, and avoid giving Family Guy even more fuel. But Meghan, according to one producer familiar with her past projects, isn't wired for retreat. She doesn't believe in letting someone else write her story. She believes the mic is power. What she might not realize, someone else already has the next scene written, because according to insiders, there's still one unaired segment left, and it may be the most savage yet. The internet has a rule. Once something leaks, there's always more.
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
And right now, in the darker corners of animation forums and locked Discord servers, the whispers are getting louder. The latest rumor? The leaks we've seen so far, the jam graveyard, the ghost corgi, the Oprah mug, they were only the warm-up. According to multiple anonymous posts from accounts tied to Fox's animation subcontractor community, a longer unaired 3-minute montage was pitched, storyboarded, and partially animated, but pulled before voice work was finalized, and what allegedly in it? Pure annihilation. The sequence begins, reportedly, with Harry in full cartoon form, wandering a massive American superstore with an empty cart. He stumbles into an aisle marked Titles and Relevance and tries to scan his royal credentials at a busted return kiosk. A robotic voice says, "This item is no longer refundable. Have you tried being interesting instead?" In the next beat, Meghan appears in a branded trench coat, hawking a product called Chakra-Infused Jam. Behind her, a banner reads, "Now available at Goop and Failing." She's on a live stream yelling into two phones, one labeled Spotify Guy, the other Oprah Maybe. One user claimed the phones begin melting mid-scene, dripping into a puddle that forms the Netflix logo and evaporates.
There were highs and lows. It's all good. Anyway, see you guys at tea. Come on, Harry.
Then comes the escalation. The third portion of the segment allegedly shows a fictional Buckingham Palace press room staffed entirely by animated corgis, each wearing a headset, frantically muttering things like, "She posted again," and scrubbed the Diana archive before she quotes it. A bald, red-faced royal advisor screams, "Why did we ever teach them email?" The punchline? One corgi pulls a lever labeled Ghost Protocol, triggering a cutaway where Princess Diana, drawn in respectful grayscale, is seen flipping through a tabloid, slowly lowering it and muttering, "I gave you everything and you gave me this podcast." Allegedly, this line was considered so radioactive it was cut before even reaching Fox Legal. But multiple posts suggest the scene was tested internally, shown to a very limited group of writers, animators, and studio execs. And here's where things get even messier. Some users claim screenshots from this montage exist, not posted but shared privately, one-on-one, through DMs. One Redditor said they were shown a frame of Meghan reading a script titled The Comeback, with a visible note in the margin, "Try to cry before timestamp 01:10. That post was deleted in under 5 minutes. The user's account? Gone. No archive, no trail, but not before someone grabbed it. The phrase Walmart title return started trending within hours. TikTokers are already dramatizing the scene using AI voices. One popular creator stitched together a fake animatic of Harry trying to scan his royal title next to a cereal box labeled Spare Flakes. It has over 9 million views, and the official episode hasn't even aired. So now the question hanging in the air isn't if this montage will leak, it's when. And if it does, Meghan's PR war may go from spin control to brand survival. There's criticism, and then there's caricature. And Meghan and Harry? They've crossed that line. Maybe not by choice, but definitely by momentum. Because this isn't about one cartoon anymore, or even two. It's about something deeper, more dangerous, and far harder to control.
Down with the monarchy! We deserve our privacy! These people.
The moment you become a meme, especially one broadcast to millions, you're not just mocked, you're reduced, looped, extracted into catchphrases, parody voices, Halloween costumes, and 20-second TikToks with trending audio that erases your narrative before you can even post a response. For most celebrities, that's survivable. But for Meghan and Harry, whose entire post-royal brand was built on dignity, vulnerability, and carefully curated storytelling, this level of ridicule hits structurally. It doesn't just sting, it undoes, and now the effects are showing. Behind closed doors in Hollywood, there's a quiet shift. A well-known entertainment strategist allegedly described Meghan's Q-score, a private measure of celebrity appeal, as being in free fall.
Park County Police Station, what's your emergency?
Yeah, the neighbors across the street are setting off fireworks and it's 10:30 at night.
Oh, is it the Prince of Canada and his wife who just want to be left alone?
According to him, her likability has dropped by double digits in 6 months. And that was before the haunted talk show mug, before the corgi, before the kiosk punchline started trending. One veteran network exec put it more bluntly. It's not that people hate her, it's that they're no longer afraid to laugh at her. That's worse. And maybe the most devastating part of this entire saga, the silence. Oprah hasn't said a word. Gayle King, once a vocal defender, has gone radio silent. Tyler Perry, godfather to Meghan's daughter, one-time emergency protector, hasn't so much as liked a tweet. And Beyoncé, completely conspicuously absent. It's not hate, it's distance. And in Hollywood, that kind of silence doesn't happen by accident. It happens when power players start pulling back, not with drama, but with avoidance.
Damn it, now the prince is playing polo on the lawn.
We are here because privacy is a basic human right.
When they see a storm coming and decide it's safer to let the brand burn quietly than stand too close when it does. And as for the Family Guy writers, word is, they're not done. A few insiders say the upcoming fall episode includes a cold open that makes Meghan the setup for a completely unrelated joke. That's not satire anymore, that's background noise. And if that's what she's become, a punchline so familiar it no longer requires context, then the road back to brand credibility isn't just uphill, it may be gone altogether.
What the hell?
What did he just say? He victimized me. It's because I'm an ethnic woman.
He can't do that. I'll see. Wait, you're ethnic? This is an outrage. We'll just see how he deals with my blue.
So now the question hangs, not whether Meghan and Harry can reclaim the narrative, but whether they'll ever own one again. Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.